he was a rugby centre three-quarter, and in those days you were either a left or a right centre three-quarter, and he was always right centre three-quarter. But that was the terminology of the day. He was also a very good and successful goal kicker, and he kicked goals for Ireland and for the Lions. He went to Queen's University in Belfast. Then he joined the rugby there, played for Queen's. He played for Ulster and was first capped against England in 1938. Now, after only 2 international appearances, he was selected for the Lions tour to South Africa later that year. He was, when they went, the youngest member of the party. He was age 22. He wasn't like a child prodigy, but he was the youngest. And he had his 23rd birthday on the tour, actually. He played in all the 3 test matches against South Africa. The Lions lost the series 2-1, but they won the 3rd test, I think it was 21-16, and he kicked a number of goals in that game to help them. It was very exciting, and of course, they had to try and keep fit, and they did their exercises every day on the ship. I've actually got some photographs that he took at the time of his teammates and so on, and they're playing deck cricket and they're playing all sorts of silly games on the boat. But it was more or less like going on a cruise to go down to South Africa and then spend 3 months down there and a cruise on the way home. It wasn't bad for amateurs, as they were all those days. He was always tremendously honoured and excited. He was a very modest man, so he didn't sort of blow his own trumpet at all about it or say what he had done. Anything about it I found from his scrapbooks and all the rest of it. But yes, it was a very important stage of his life. He was very excited by it, there's no doubt, and you could see that. And he kept his jerseys and all that sort of thing. The Lions, of course, in his day, they played in dark blue jerseys. Well, they weren't the red jerseys they have now. I think that they came in, the red ones came in after the war. I'm not sure exactly when, but I had for a long time, we had actually in our possession his Lions jersey. So he was proud of these things in a very modest sort of way, but he kept all his trophies, the things that he won. But you've got to remember, it came just before the Second World War came, and that was also he was in the Royal Artillery, and he rose to be a major, I think, at the end of the war, and he had a lot of pretty bad experiences fighting there, both in trying to get out of Dunkirk, in Burma, and so on. So he didn't open up an awful lot to us about his rugby or about those sort of matters. I think people in those days did keep a lot of these things to themselves. So a lot of rugby stuff I had to find out about subsequently, almost from other people, because he would not be forthcoming about it at all. In 1962, he was appointed as the assistant manager, which they had in those days, before the days of coaches and so on, off the Lions, going back to South Africa because of his knowledge of it. It was wonderful because he brought back Lions jerseys for us and lots of little souvenirs and little bits. And of course, he corresponded with us on a regular basis throughout his stay there. So it was tremendously exciting for us. Oh yes, absolutely. So you felt about 10 feet tall that way. It's absolutely fabulous. I think it was my sister who sort of said, look, you're the eldest I'm the eldest of 4 children. And they said, you're the eldest, you should apply for it. I said, well, as long as you guys are going to support me in the application, and they said they would, and they signed all the various forms to say, yes, it was all right to send it to me rather than anybody else, and that I could have it. So they've been very supportive, and I've sent them all photographs of the 2. When I saw it first in the box, it was absolutely, I just blown over by it. It was absolutely fabulous. It's a most beautiful way to present the thing with the letter and the picture of the tour party and so on, which we got as well as the bag and this. It's just trying to do it justice now is going to be what it's all about. I think he would have been absolutely delighted. He wouldn't have said a lot because it was not in his nature to say a lot. But I think he'd have been totally, absolutely bowled over, and totally proud of it. Totally proud of it. Yeah, it would bring back memories for him as well. I'm quite sure of that. Some of which they say he used to talk about, some which he didn't. So yeah, it's a wonderful memento to have. Absolutely fantastic.